Hello, everybody. My name is Camilla Fox, and I'm the founder and executive director of Project Coyote. And I'm here today with Dave Parsons, who is a science advisory board member with Project Coyote. He's also a wildlife biologist with the Rewilding Institute. And many of you may know him for his work with the Fish and Wildlife Service, where he served as the Mexican wolf recovery coordinator from, I believe, 1990 to 1999. And Betsy today asked if we could join you. I'm sorry we can't be there in person, but we're thrilled to join virtually to pay tribute to a member of the community of wolf advocates. I know part of today is to acknowledge the many, many amazing wolf advocates out there. And today, Dave Parsons and I are going to talk about the late Kim Crumbo, who tragically lost his life in a wilderness experience last month in September. And so we are here today to pay tribute to Kim and to share with you some of his amazing work on behalf of wolves, on behalf of rewilding, conservation in general. He was a hero to our movement, to our planet. It's a very tragic loss. We feel for his family, everyone who is feeling that loss. And today we'd like to share just a few thoughts and experiences of our time with Kim. So with that, I will pass it over to you, Dave.
Thank you, Camilla. And thanks for involving me in this project, Betsy. And I don't have any prepared comments. Just speak from the heart, basically, about Kim. I've known Kim for at least 15 years, could be 20. I don't honestly remember when we first met. But when I got to know Kim, I realized that I just made a friend of the highest caliber you could imagine as a human being. And I keep a very short list of people that I think are the world's finest human beings, and Kim's right up on the top of that. He's got a generous spirit. He is just so dedicated to the well-being of all living beings, and especially the wild beings and the wild land, and has made tremendous contributions to the conservation of wildlife and wilderness and wildlands. About 6 years ago, I realized the void in my life, and so I placed a call to Kim Crumbo. I said, Kim, I've got something on my bucket list that involves you, and that is that I've never actually been out in the wilderness with you. Seen him at a number of meetings, both live and Zoom, but I'd never actually experienced the wild with Kim Crumbo. And it turned out Kim Crumbo, given all his wilderness experience, I'd never seen the Gila wilderness, which of course was the first wilderness designated in the United States almost 100 years ago now. So I invited Kim on a wilderness backpack in the Gila. I believe it was 6 years ago. And we had just a fabulous week-long backpack in the Gila. And Gila is one of those places that's still truly wild. I think we probably did not encounter a single other human being on that trip. It was just fabulous. We really bonded on that trip, and I'm so glad that I had that experience and forced that on Kim to go out with me in the wilderness. Well, I'm not sure what else to say other than it's just such a tremendous loss to the conservation community. But that said, Kim has set an example for us. His optimism. He was always optimistic that we will prevail in saving the earth. He spoke of calling upon the better angels amongst the human society to take on that goal, and we will remain inspired by Kim and his work and his passion for conservation, and that'll I won't be seeing his face at meetings, but his legacy will live on with us and inspire our work forever.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dave. And along those lines, I will share that shortly before his death, we had decided between Project Coyote and the Rewilding Institute to hire a joint position. And we actually currently have that position posted. It's for a carnivore conservation advocate. And really the idea behind that position is to have Dave and was to have Kim mentor that person doing wolf conservation work and predator conservation work. So as Dave said to me shortly after Kim's death, huge shoes to fill, a man of compassion, a man of empathy, and it will be very difficult to hire anyone who can fill Kim's shoes, but we're excited to keep his legacy going with this new position and with our collaboration, Project Coyotes and the Rewilding Institute. So my way of dealing sometimes with grief is to go out into the wilderness and write. And when I learned of Kim's death, I went to one of my favorite places, Lagunitas Creek in West Marin. And I sat on this beautiful bank. The light was just exquisite. The trees were glowing. I brought my journal and I wrote. And so for me, writing is a really wonderful way to share. So I'm going to read my tribute. This tribute was published on the Rewilding Institute's website. So here I go. I first met Kim at a wolf conservation conference just outside of Yellowstone National Park around the time I was considering starting an organization to defend the most beleaguered and persecuted wild carnivores of North America and to promote compassionate coexistence. We shared a beer or two and a long conversation that focused on how to combat the increasing hatred of wolves and other predators across the country and the concurrent despondency and despair so many activists felt working in the trenches. We shared our mutual need to escape into wild nature and to rejuvenate our souls and to counter the grief and despair. It wasn't until later that I learned from a colleague that Kim had trained as a Navy SEAL and served several deployments to Vietnam before dedicating his life to saving wildlands and wildlife. Over the years, our work for rewilding intersected, most recently with increasing collaboration between the organization for which he has dedicated so many years, the Rewilding Institute, and Project Coyote, the organization I founded in 2008. Kim was a frequent and eloquent writer for Rewilding Earth, and I often referred to his writings for inspiration as well as an accurate chronology of pivotal points and figures in the conservation movement. Most recently, Kim shared a draft of a revised article he had written seeking my feedback. I read his poignant essay titled Hope in the Age of Humans, with the same kind of rapt attention his writing always elicited. I shared my thoughts with him, and we exchanged some meaningful communications about hope, despair, and why we continue this good, though sometimes soul-sapping fight. Perhaps what strikes me most acutely as I reread our exchange and think about Kim's words and what they mean. Oof. I am reminded that this is a man who had direct experience of war in Vietnam, and who returned from that experience not bitter, broken, and angry, but instead infused with passion for justice, of standing up for the underdog, the downtrodden and persecuted, and coming to all of this from a place of deep compassion, empathy, and commitment. On August 5th, Kim wrote to me, "As I often point out, my darkest days go back to Vietnam, when as a consequence, my 70 or so combat operations as a SEAL, I became all too aware of that heart of darkness within my fellow humans and within myself. It took some time and struggle to see it, as we all must, to sustain, perhaps regain our humanity. But there is a path forward. You are on it, my friend. Thank you for all you do." Never read it aloud. And then one of his final communications to me, he said, "My faith in humanity as a whole has never been excessive, but I do know that the better angels among us can rescue the planet. We have to." And that is what I think about when I think about Kim. And I have gone back to those words in my journal many times. Because when you think about someone who has gone to Vietnam and done and seen what he has seen, and comes back and decides to dedicate his life to rewilding, to wolves, to all the animals of this planet, and the compassion and empathy that he did that with day in and day out, anyone who met him knows that that was so genuine. That to me is an extraordinary human being. So today at Sedona Wolf Week, I hope you all will take a moment to think about Kim as we recognize and acknowledge all the many amazing advocates who are giving their time and talents to wolves. So with that, I'll pass it over to Dave for maybe some final words.
Well, thank you, Camilla. That's powerful. Be able to see them, but there are a couple of tears running down my face. Well said. I don't know what to add to that other than may Kim be at peace and may his legacy live on.
Thank you all. Enjoy the conference. And here's to continuing Kim's legacy for many, many, many decades and centuries to come. Thank you.